With that being said, the title of today's message, my assignment today is, which storm are you facing? Well, maybe I should say storms, because we all face several storms. Many of us all face more than one storm at a time. Sometimes you may just be in one storm. Sometimes, I don't know if any of you feel like it, that you may be in a season where several storms are happening in different areas. I've gone through seasons where it's like, okay, I got in a storm in this area of my life right here, but everything else is like sunshine and rainbows. Then I've gone through seasons where I'm just like, everything feels like a storm. This relationship is a storm. This business is a storm. This circle is a storm. This mindset is a storm. You just feel like you just hit with storms in every which way possible, if that makes sense. But here's the thing. We all have different trials. We have different tests. We all have different seasons. And I don't know if you can relate, but sometimes you'll see that you're going through, you may have just come out of a storm and you're experiencing your sunshine and rainbows, but then you'll see those around you going through like tons of storms. Life is just hitting them left and right. But yet you're standing in sunshine. You're like, I don't see a cloud in the sky, but someone right next to you, someone living with you, someone sleeping with you, someone next to your cubicle, someone in your proximity, someone in your family, will be experiencing a different storm. And that's another reason we got to be sensitive and have compassion for others. Because God doesn't put us all in the same storms at the same time. Everybody is facing a different battle. I may be going through one storm. Some of you may be going through many storms. Some of you may have come out of a storm and you just living your best life right now. But be mindful of the storms that you face when you face them, and then those that are around you, the storms that you're facing also. We have a storm of our outside circumstances and a storm that we all face within ourselves. My outside storms did not change until I learned how to control the storm within. And so many of us want God to fix the storms on the outside. God, is raining, it's thundering, it's lightning, it's storming, the winds are just going, the waves are blowing. But God is like, before I settle that storm on the outside, let's work on that battle, that storm that's going on within. Because when I can calm that storm within, then you see your outside storm completely differently. You're like, wait a minute, the storm didn't go away. It's still storming outside, but I'm not intimidated by the storm. I'm not fearful by the storm. I'm not running for shelter. Like, I can stand up within the storm. I feel like I have strength in this storm. I'm ready to conquer this storm. I'm ready to speak to my storm. I'm ready to prophesy in my storm. I'm ready to bind and loose in my storm. I'm ready to decree and declare in my storm. In order for you to be prepared and equipped for the storm outside, we first have to identify the storm on the inside. I've said this before. God doesn't just fix something that you're unaware that was broken. He doesn't just clean something that you were unaware that it was even dirty. God doesn't take something away that you were unaware that it even existed. He always wants to partner with you, even with the flaws and the storms and the battles in your life. God doesn't just fix it and you never had any awareness of its existence. But he wants you to first identify with the storm within you. That storm within you may be bitterness. That storm within you may be feeling unworthy. That storm within you may be unforgiveness. That storm within you may be lust. That storm within you may be pornography. Maybe it's addiction. Maybe it's just sadness. Maybe it's depression. But all of us have several storms going on, not only around us, but inside of us as well. And the one thing you don't want to do is just to keep living your life, just existing and not acknowledging and becoming aware of the storm that you face within. Once you identify it, you surrender it to God. Some of us have identified the storm. We know what our storm is. We know what our battle is. We know what we're facing. But the thing we've neglected to do, if I'm being honest or transparent myself, that I've neglected sometimes more than I like to acknowledge, is that I didn't give it to God. I knew that I battled with it, but I didn't give it to God. That's where many of us drop the ball. I suffer from depression. I suffer from anxiety. I suffer from, or I'm battling with bitterness. I suffer from unforgiveness. Okay, well, what do you do with that? Give it to God. You know what your storm is. You know what your issue is, your flaw, your insecurity. Now the next step is to give it to God. Then he will allow the Holy Spirit to help you learn how to calm the storm within you. You acknowledge what the issue is. God has made it known. He gives us a spirit of knowing, like you know what it is that you're battling with. You know what it is that has caused you to run from God, or what it is that has caused you to feel the way you feel or act the way you're acting. He'll always make you aware of what that is first. Once you're aware of it, once you have identified it, once you've acknowledged it, the next step is to give it to God. When you give it to God, that's when the Holy Spirit will come in and partner with you. Like I was talking about strategies. He will come in and partner with you and give you strategies, even how to face and endure and even persevere with the storms that are within you. He will help you calm the storms. He gives you strategies to overcome and conquer the storms then on the outside. God does his best work in the dark. And if we're being honest, when he works within us, that's him working in the dark. We're looking for God. Wait a minute, my storm is still here. My circumstances are still here. I'm still in this season. And God is like, I do some of my best work in the dark. I'm a God who fixes you from the inside out. I cleanse you from the inside out. I calm you from the inside out. I lay gold in you from the inside out. Before you can start seeing gold all around you, let me lay gold within you first. If I send my consuming fire, I got to send fire to consume what's on the inside of you first before I start sending fire to consume what's on the outside of you that doesn't look like you. God sends consuming fire with things that don't look like him, with things that displease him, with things that are not of him. But God always works from the inside out first. Too often, we want the outside circumstances fixed first. God, fix my marriage, fix my family, fix my finances, fix my career, fix this, fix this, fix this. But God is saying, before I fix this, let me help you. Because God doesn't just fix us on the inside, he partners with us. He partners with us to show us and teach us who we are and who we belong to. Remember, I said there are times that we go to God in prayer, God, fix this. I'm struggling with this. Take this away. And God is like, I've given you the power. I've given you the authority to do that. I'm not going to rebuke something that I've allowed you, giving you the ability to rebuke. I'm not going to bind something that you can bind. I'm not going to loose something that I've given you power to loose. But when you partner with me and partner with my Holy Spirit, then I can give you strategy. Even when I fix you from the inside out, I partner with you and teach you how to do it. I teach you how to stand up against your giants. I teach you how to speak those things and wrap yourself in a full armor of God. I teach you how to withstand your storm. No longer just running from your storm, but facing your storm. Because some of the storms we face, thank you, Holy Spirit, some of the things that we need to face, we run from. I don't want to deal with this. I know I battle with this, but I'm going to run from it. I know I struggle with this, but I'm going to run from it. But when we partner with God, he gives us strength to face those things head on. I'm very fearful of this thing in my life, but God gave me the strength to face it head on. Then I was able to conquer it. Then I was able to look it in the eyes. Then I was able to speak those things. Then I was able to have victory in that battle. God doesn't always take away the storm, but he will provide you with strategies and instructions to endure and withstand your storm. That's when we see our life from God's lens, and we no longer view things from our natural eyes. When we partner with God, when we look at things within us and around us, we're seeing it from a natural perspective, from our carnal minds. But when we acknowledge it and we're aware of it and then we give it to God, he then allows us, and he releases scales from our eyes, and we're able to see through his lens. We see through his perspective. We see the things that that we weren't able to once face. Things that we ran away from, we're not running. Things that we were afraid to speak on, now we're bold and we're speaking against it. How many of us can say there are times we face a storm, and even if you face it head on, things that you know you should speak, you're still fearful. And that's exactly what the enemy wants you, is to silence you. He doesn't want you to be aware of the power that you have in your mouth. The weapon that you carry, your tongue is a weapon. Your mouth is a weapon. Your voice is a powerful weapon. So if the devil can shut you up, you're exactly where he wants you to be. But when we partner with God and he gives you that strength, those things that you were once fearful and timid and shy, now you're bold. You start walking through the house decreeing and declaring, binding and loosing. I rebuke this. I cast this down. I tear this down. The things that you used to be. God, take this away. God's like, I gave you a voice, Moses. Speak. I made your mouth. I will fill your mouth. The battles are always spiritual, but if you're not in alignment with God, you can miss your blessing and breakthrough because you tried to do it all your way. Anybody else can say they're guilty of that? You knew what your problem was. You knew what your battle was, but you just kept facing it. It's like, God, why isn't this thing going away? God's like, because you're doing it all your way. You're doing it with your instructions and your strategies and your blueprint. You didn't partner with me. You didn't ask me for instructions on how to get you out of this. I've already seen the end. I already know the end. I already know victory belongs to you. But this one storm that was supposed to be a storm has become a life cycle. It has become a life sentence because you keep trying to do it within your own strength. But God is saying, whoever you are, try it again. This time, try it with God. And he just gave me, Peter, have you caught anything yet? No, we've been fishing all night. Cast your net to the right. Cast your net to the other side. You've been doing it all, but you've been doing it on your own. You've been doing it yourself. You've been doing it the best way you thought to overcome it, to fight it, to conquer it, to have victory. But when you partner with God, and he's like, I know you've been toiling with it. I know you've been wrestling with it. I know you've been battling with it. I know you've been praying for it, believing for it, and it's not happening, but you're doing it all your way. The moment you partner with me and yield and submit to my instructions, then that's when you'll catch the multitude of fish. Then that's when you'll have victory. Then that's when you're able to slay your Goliath. So if you know what your storms are, if you know what your battles are, and you've acknowledged them, but you didn't give them to God and partner with him, try it again. But this time, try it with God. It was almost like when Peter was walking on water. As long as he trusted and kept his focus on God, Peter was able to do the impossible. And that's how all of us are. When you focus on God, you're able to do the impossible. When you trust God, you're able to do the impossible. When you lean not on your own understanding, you're able to do the impossible. When you seek God and chase God and pursue God, you're able to do the impossible. Things that you think that couldn't be done, you're able to do when you do it God's way. That's why so many of us are in the situations that we're in. It's because we try and do everything our way. I know I got this issue, but I'm a fixer. Let me fix this myself. My mom battled with this and she did this and it fixed her, so let me do this her way. Or I saw somebody on TV said they did it this way, so let me try it. We do every way. All of us can say we're guilty of that. We go through every other resource before we actually go to the ultimate source, the main source, the GOAT, the plug. And God is like, if you just consult with me and trust me and take my instructions, you could have been overcome this. You could have been healed. You could have been gotten out of this. You could have been transitioned into your next season. You could have been gone from glory to glory. You could have been released from your prison. But we try to do it mama's way, big mama's way, Uncle Jimmy's way, what the pastor said. I watched this on YouTube and several girls. And here's the thing. Thank you, Holy Spirit. The enemy, the last thing he wants is you to partner with God and obey God and submit God and get the healing that you need, the victory that you need. So if he can distract you with hearing, maybe this word is for you. Maybe this way of healing is for you. Maybe these instructions are for you. And if you pay attention to the enemy's strategies, he's always trying to get you further and further away from God, further from the victory, further from overcoming your battle. He knows how you speak to God. He knows where you seek God. So for those of us who are all over YouTube listening to sermons or all over social media trying to see what this prophet posted, what this prophetess is saying, the enemy knows how to deceive you. So if he can get you away from seeking God and just saying, okay, it worked for my sis this way, it worked for my brother this way, it worked for my big mama this way, but I'm going to give this God to see what is his way to do this. What is his strategy to do it? And far too often we look every which way possible. Not only look that way, we try it. That didn't work. I'm willing to try anything. Oh, my sister said try such and such. Oh, the lady on Facebook said try such and such. Oh, the person who I watch on YouTube said try such and such. Just because it worked for them one way, Thank you, Holy Spirit. Far too often, when we share our testimonies and strategies of how God has allowed us to overcome something, certain things that I've been through, and when I share it with each and every one of you, that's to show you how God did it for me, how God healed me, how God delivered me. That's to give you hope, to say if he did it for her, he could do it for me. But that's not to say the way he did it for Synovia is the way he's going to do it for me. The way he restored her marriage is the way he's going to restore mine. The way he blessed her with abundance is the way he's going to bless me. That's not how it goes. And far too often we fall into that trap. That's where the enemy wants us. Oh, he healed Sequoia. I tried to do it Sequoia's way, but it didn't work. I tried to do it Tabitha's way, but it didn't work. In all reality, God is like, if you just seek me, I have the strategy for you. I only allowed Sequoia to minister to you to give you hope that if I did it for her, I could do it for you. I only allowed Tabitha to share her testimony so you can see that, yes, I'm a God who can do I am that I am. I can be whatever, whoever you need me to be when you need me to do it. But don't limit me that the way I did it for her is how I'm going to do it for you. The way I healed her is how I'm going to heal you. The way I blessed her is how I'm going to bless you. Because then when it doesn't happen that way, we're exactly where the enemy wants us. We're in our feelings. We're mad at God. God didn't do it. God promised this and it didn't happen. No, it's not that those things weren't going to happen. We just thought he was going to do it for us the way he did it for someone else. Don't get so caught up in how God did it for someone else that you expect him and only look for him to do it that way. God is always looking to do a new thing. The way he blessed you, that's just to give me hope. He's in the blessing business. The way he healed you, that's just to give me my joy back. God did it for her. He could do it for me. But I'm not supposed to sit there and only limit God to only breaking out for me that way, to only healing me that way, to only blessing me that way, to only manifesting in my life that way. Because then I limit God. Then God is saying, I wanted to do it for you in a different way that I've never done it before. Eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, nor has it entered the heart of man. But when we then have tunnel vision on how we think God should do something. So think about the horses that run a race. Thank you, Holy Spirit. This isn't even part of my notes. The horses that run a race, they have those blinders on and they only see tunnel vision. So you looked at how God blessed or did it for someone else and you got tunnel vision on that. When those blinders are on, we have tunnel vision to all the wrong things. You can't see everywhere else that God is manifesting, that God is moving, that God is touching, that God is trying to do it in your life because your blinders are on. Yes, we're supposed to have on our blinders and be focused, but we're focused on all the wrong things. He did it for her this way, so I'm going to laser focus in on that. And God is like, while you're laser focused on that, you miss everything around you that I was doing. Everything that I was saying, everything that I was touching, and every way that I was moving, because you had tunnel vision on how I did it for someone else. We got to get out of that space. Just how God did it for someone else or how he's doing it through someone else does not mean he's going to do it that way for us. And I can almost promise he's not going to do it that way for you. God will never run out of ways for how he can do for you what he did for someone else. You could be in a room full of millions of people and we all get the same breakthrough. And I guarantee God will never run out of ways to do it differently in someone's life. Still, he got all the victory. He got all the glory. We still got the same blessing, but he manifested it differently in each and every one of our lives. And God is so good, he won't run out of ways for how he can show up. So instead of looking, when you're hearing other people's testimonies and looking for God to show up that way, you start missing all the other ways he did show up, all the other ways he was trying to show up. And then next thing you know, you're walking around, you're in your feelings, God didn't do it. What if he already did it? What if you just need to take your blinders off and then have your aha moment and be like, wow, he did touch that. He did do that. He did bring that into fruition. He did heal that. He did close that door. He did open that door. Instead of looking, it's almost like, thank you, Holy Spirit, he gave me another vision. You're looking through you see a door, but you're looking through the peephole, through the little keyhole of the door. When you do that, you're limited of your view. And God is like, just because I blessed them and it was able to fit through this little keyhole, the way I wanted to do it for you was to open the entire door and look at the perspective that way. Look at the magnitude of what I could do. Think about it. If the door is closed and I look through the little keyhole, even though I can see on the other side, I can only see a limited view of it, right? I can't see the entire room because I'm only able to see through that small hole. But God is like, when you take your blinders off, it's as if the door is open and you're able to see the entire room. You're able to see the entire view. So whenever we focus on how God did it for someone else, we're looking through a keyhole. But when we take the blinders off and say, God, I'm open to however you choose to bless me, to however you choose to heal me, to however you choose to calm this storm in my life and to fix the storms around me, then that allows God to open the entire door and for us to have a wider perspective, for us to have a wider view, even for some of us to have a bird's eye view, because now you're above those things. Those things that you were once in, when he opens the door, now you have a bird's eye view. What you once saw around you, now you're above that. Your view is wider, your perspective is wider. Now you're able to receive more. So I challenge you, I encourage you, the way God did it for someone else, however they got out of their storm or being brought through their storm, don't limit God through your keyhole. Allow God to open the entire door so you can get the bigger view. Are you trying to face your own storm by yourself? Are you trying to do everything your way? It's almost like you got something to prove to God. Why? What can you possibly prove to God with trying to fix something in your own strength? And it's almost like God is just sitting there, I'm gonna let her, it's like you're hitting a brick wall every time. You're tiring yourself out, trying to do it yourself, trying to get it right, trying to make sense of it all. And God is just sitting there, okay? I see the vision of the statue of the thinking man. If you guys don't know, that's the man who's kind of like this, with his knee, with his elbow, and his chin and his palm, like just looking like he's thinking. And I just see in the spirit, like God is in that form, just like, well, what are they doing? Why do they keep trying to do it? Well, maybe this time they'll get the aha moment to partner with me and do it my way. And you try, then you hit a brick wall. And you're like, I'm going to do this again. And you keep tiring yourself out. You're in something longer than you should be because you keep trying to do it your way, within your own strength, how you think it should be, how it was done for someone else. God doesn't just want to calm the storm you can see. He wants to calm the storm and partner with you for the storm that you can't see first. Before he fixes the things that you can see, that's everything that's around you, God desires to partner with you and help you calm what you cannot see, that's everything in you. You can't see the storms that you're facing on the inside, the battles that you struggle with on the inside. Those are the storms he wants to partner with you and teach you how to calm those storms first, how to walk on water within yourself first, how to do the impossible within yourself first. Then when you do that, everything around you changes. Everything that you saw through that small keyhole, now you've given God access to open the entire door for you to have an unlimited view, an unlimited perspective of calming your storm, of fixing your storm, of bringing you through your storm. So again, what storm are you facing? And are you trying to do it all on your own? Because that storm will then be a cycle. That will be a never-ending storm, a never-ending battle. If you guys remember the movie Never-Ending Story, you got a never-ending story of a storm because you're trying to do it all your way. God's like, we could have fixed that months ago. We could have fixed that years ago. I've been trying to fix that in your bloodline for generations. But your big mama tried to do it on her own. So then your mama dealt with those storms. Your mom tried to fix them on her own. Then she passed those storms to you. I'm trying to let you be the curse breaker, but you're dealing with those storms on your own. And guess what? You're going to pass them to your children. They're going to pass them to their children. So you are the curse breaker. Instead of trying to do what everybody else did, partner with me and let me give you victory over your storm.